Welcome, welcome to the GunChannels.com evening lobby. I'm Nightstrike. Thanks for listening. Let's go ahead and edit the page so I can get this out. Edit this shit. Delete that. Insert a video. Let's do an embed. I'll talk gadget crap. All right. There you are, Dano.
There I am. All right.
Is Matt doing his chat tonight? Because
I don't know, but if he does, tonight's the night he doesn't start for another 45 minutes, if he does start at all.
If he does. If he doesn't, we'll just do whatever in here like we were doing.
Well, before we get started on anything really interesting, I want to screen share so you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Okay, sure. Let me see if I can help you.
Okay. See which page I want to bring out. Bring out that one.
And Brandon, what's up, my man?
Mind him? What's going on?
So how's DSOC going?
Everything's on hold right now until after.
Aw, man.
Yeah, SHOT Show is coming up pretty soon, so
I was expecting some more videos because those were awesome.
We're trying to make sure everybody can stay alive to go to SHOT Show. It's getting really hairy out there, and we lost one of our team members, so we're actually looking to recruit some people right now. And
how did you lose him?
Well, what happened was he ended up stealing stuff from the group. He stole a couple of Glocks, some uppers, and then took off, and never returned. Didn't
Call
return
the cops on him?
Yeah, what?
Call the police?
Yep. So we basically have no clue where he's at, but apparently a lot of people are looking for him. So.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, tell me about it. So now we're down one man, and it's just not safe for us to go out there, by ourselves, just myself and my roommate. So we presently have a Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, but a website up, and we put a new recruiting area, and so hopefully we can get some people in that are qualified and get back out there.
Okay, Nightstrike, do you see my screen?
Yeah, I see your problem right away. You know what your problem is? You see where that yellow text, that yellow box is? Click here to verify your YouTube account.
Yes, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, my account is already fucking verified.
Press continue.
Okay, and I do, and it brings me right back to it brings me to this. Okay. Everything is green that's supposed to be green. I mean, I don't have paid content because I don't have more than 1,000 subs, and I don't have fan funding. But that's it.
Okay. Well, let me show. I know you want to do a chat, but I can show you a cheat.
Well, and that's fine. I'll take a cheat.
Click live streaming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Continue screen sharing so I can guide you.
Okay. Well, let me get that back on. I thought you meant like you were done.
No. We're not done yet.
Okay.
For anyone who's watching, this will be helpful if you need to do this in the future. If you can't do it via the Hangout page, this is one way to do it. You have to have your Google Plus and your Google Hangouts and your YouTube account connected to each other. So go back to your YouTube account where we were.
Okay, so it took me to this page.
Go to YouTube.com.
YouTube.com?
Yeah, you go to your YouTube account. I said I'm showing you a trick, a workaround.
Okay.
So just go up there on top, YouTube, and I'll show you.
Okay. I'm at my channel.
I still see that one tab that says Start and Unlisted.
Maybe I'm sharing the wrong screen.
I think so. Fix it.
Okay, do you see it now? What are you looking at?
I'm seeing the Start and Unlisted Hangout on air. I don't see anything other than that page.
Somehow it's not changing, or it's not unlocking.
Yeah. Turn screen share off.
Yeah,
Completely turned off.
Okay. Oh, I just fucked that up.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Just a minute. Damn it. I hate fucking computers. That's not it. Close that one. Okay. Let's go to this one. Okay. So do you see this page with the picture of the gun?
Yeah. Click My Channel.
All right.
Okay. Go up to the top right where it says it's got a red number 1 next to the bell on the top right.
Okay.
Click your avatar. It's the one on the right.
All right.
Go to Creator Studio. Okay.
Okay.
Click Live Streaming on the left.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Click Events. Okay. The top right over there, it says New Live Event. Click that.
That's the key right there.
Click that. Just you'll see what I mean. Okay. Now for the live event, you can do the name of it. You can do, when you want to start it. And you see on the type?
Yeah.
Quick, using Google Hangouts on Air. There you go.
Okay, and just do the go live now from events under live streaming.
Yeah.
Well,
basically that. That's the best way to do it if you can't get to the Hangouts on Air page.
That sounds like a great way to do it. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
I'm going to bookmark this spot and say go here.
Well, there's a couple of the guys that do live streaming and whatnot here on Gun Channels told me that's how you do it. You could go ahead and do it via the Hangouts on Air page if you can get it working, but if you're having problems with it, that's probably your best bet.
Thank you.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Back to guns.
Now we can get back to guns, but I'm here to help in case you need it.
There's two reasons that this was important to me. One is I have the access to manipulate it on gun channels, and I want to be able to be a backup in case somebody's not able to fill in. That's one. The other is in case I ever want to do a chat, separately, I have that knowledge.
And Z, if you're listening, I don't know if Matt's doing his chat tonight or not, but we need to get Noah in here, and we need to have an escape from chat. A John Carpenter escape from New York and LA chat. Period.
I did listen to a good portion of that old chat that Z put the link in there. That was pretty entertaining, pretty interesting.
We need to have another one because I love Escape from New York and LA. Those were some of my favorite movies.
Man, it was funny when they were filming Escape from LA. I lived in that area in Los Angeles when they were filming it in Universal Studios, and it was pretty cool watching all that stuff being filmed. I liked it. I really liked the, it's kind of a cult classic.
They never made an Escape from Cleveland. Cleveland was an inside joke. I don't know what it pertained, but maybe if we get No and Z in here, he might be able to tell us what it was all about.
Well, Cleveland has typically, starting from back in the 60s, was known as the armpit of the Midwest because of the heavy manufacturing. It was also called the Mistake on the Lake. It also had the I'm going to mispronounce it, the Cuyahoga River catch fire in the 60s. It was so polluted.
Dano, you sound as if you've been to Ohio or lived there.
Well, no, I've never lived there. I do have a brother that currently lives outside of Cleveland, but he didn't move there till the 90s.
Okay.
But I'm old enough that I remember, with the exception of the fire on the river, I was alive but too young to read the newspaper at that point.
Okay, then that's way before my time. We're talking it's even before Brandon's time, who is about the same age as me.
Right. So,
Though, Brandon, how many years of your life did you spend in California?
too many. Well, let's see. About 31 years of my life.
Oh, wow. You poor bastard.
From the time I was born up until last year. So
That's more than the years I spent in California.
You know what's crazy though is when I was a little kid, when I was like 8 years old, 10 years old, it wasn't that bad. California wasn't the aspiring Reich that it is now.
Much more as far as you would think of like guns as being there, and that was a regular thing.
Yeah.
It's done a total flip-flop.
Yeah, California used to be pretty pro-gun. I mean, like, you used to be able to go to, the gun stores and stuff, and I remember before 1986 and buy machine guns at the sporting goods stores. And, and then after that, of course, the ban came in and stuff like that, the federal ban, but after, before 94, there was a huge flux of AR-15s, AKs, and Norincos, and California. I remember I would go with my dad to the gun shop. They would buy like SPAS 12s and all kinds of cool stuff. And so now, like, it's just crazy, like how insane California's got. And I guess they passed a new law to where, like, if I'm next door to somebody who I basically don't like for whatever reason, and I want to be a jerk by calling the cops and say, oh, this guy is this guy's threatening to shoot me, I can call the cops on him and even lie about it, and the cops can come over and take his guns away because of a false accusation.
And they say that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and then
is
he's got
not
like
okay.
30 days to make his case against it or some crap.
Yep. So
That shit is not okay. And I really hope California goes down in flames or falls off the map or whatever due to an earthquake, because shit like that should not fly anywhere in the United States. That's communism.
And the reason they said that they passed that is because there were multiple complaints about the Santa Barbara murderer guy, and they said that multiple people and multiple authorities showed up to his house, but yet because they didn't have enough evidence to compile on him that he was an actual threat, because as soon as the police went over there, he was like, look, I have no idea what these guys are talking about, and then later on that week he went and murdered a bunch of people. So they said that's what the law is now because of that. But then there was a senator in California, Melissa Melendez, that wanted to make it a felony for a false accusation to somebody, but it was struck down. So she wanted to basically make it like, okay, if you're lying just to get somebody in trouble to get their guns taken away, it'll become a felony in California to do that.
I can see a misdemeanor. A felony is a little bit heavy-handed on their part. I mean,
It depends on if they call SWAT or not.
Yeah, I mean, it
Well,
can be very, very dangerous.
I mean, it should be a felony for
Search,
anyone to call
no
SWAT
property
on
damage.
anyone that don't deserve it.
I mean, like if somebody calls 911, the police come, they investigate, but nobody's hurt, no property's damaged. Okay, make it a misdemeanor. I mean, a misdemeanor still gets a year in jail, maximum.
But-
It's not like nothing.
But California and involving firearms, it's not looked at as, you know, a
Oh,
misdemeanor.
Dano, I just got the invite.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
What do we do?
Well, we stay on it until about 5 minutes before he starts up, and then we shut it down.
What's going on?
Matt,
Oh,
Matt's chat.
So,
wasn't he gonna talk about the whole like executive orders tonight?
I'm not sure.
I think that's what Matt was saying the other night.
I'll see if you put an invite out there or a notice. It says gun rights attacked and much more. That's the title.
Oh,
Yeah, he was planning on discussing them because he we pretty much knew what they were at that time, but he hadn't signed them yet. So I think that was what his plan was. But I think he was kind of gonna adjust it depending on what actually went down between then and now.
I did some digging, but apparently an executive order is the only thing that federal and government employees are supposed to obey. It doesn't go for states and counties and regular citizens. But I mean, that is the law to the letter.
Yeah, it's supposed to like dictate stuff for government agencies. So he can do things like through the ATF, I think, with that, because that dictates government agencies.
Right.
And like crap that he's done through the IRS and BS like that, because that's what those things are for. That's why you look and see other presidents, how many they've done. A lot of their executive orders were basically memos down to the different agencies of things to do. Like Clinton, I think there was like 300, and some people talk about Bush had the most. No, Clinton did. His was like 321.
Well,
But
actually,
most of
FDR
them
had the
were
most.
BS. Well, most of them were BS executive orders that nobody knew anything about anyway, because it was just like, tell this agency that they need to hire some more people, or they need to fire some people, or
John,
furlough some people, or whatever.
John, were you aware of FDR's? He's got like over 3,000.
His was not, FDR's was not on that list I read. I don't remember seeing FDR on there at all.
Now, the
Well,
other question I
remember
had-
though, a lot of FDR's plans and orders were actually useful to the country. They weren't detrimental to our country and our laws. They
Well-
were more useful than anything.
unless you were Japanese. I mean, and I say that
Okay, that's one blemish on an almost near perfect record.
I can't. Well, yeah. Did he do more good than harm? Certainly, but it doesn't mean he only did one thing that wasn't so great.
Well, here's another example. Everyone says Reagan is so great. Well, he signed off on the National Resource Conservation Service,
Exactly.
being created, which basically is fucking me over from getting any sort of assistance to farm that 30 acres I got back there. So it's going to waste.
And also, Reagan was one of the key signers in the whole Hughes Act, I think.
And the
Yep.
Hughes Amendment, he signed the Hughes Amendment. So
Yeah,
basically, he's not the greatest. I mean, sure, he did a lot of good things. A lot of people like him, but he did a lot of harm too.
Yeah, I just find it's always funny though that like the Republicans like to put him up whenever they have like these memes and his quotes like saying about Second Amendment rights and values and stuff like that. It's like, dude, like you.
I would say he was half and half. He was half for the Second Amendment and half not for it because of the Hughes Amendment. But remember, at the time, Dano.
Well, he signed it. He didn't make the damn thing. He signed it because it got
But
the
by
vote.
signing it, he's saying, yeah, I agree.
But Dano,
No, he's saying that it passed, so he signed it instead of not signing it. because that all he could do was veto it or sign it. That's his.
Yeah, and by vetoing it, it says I do not agree. By signing it means I do agree.
Right.
Yeah, but most of the time, a president, unless he's just being a jackass, is gonna he's just gonna sign the thing if it passed through all of the, if it went through Congress,
Sean,
then you're gonna
do you
sign
think
it.
our president would do that? Hell no. If a pro-gun thing came up to his desk, there's no way in hell he would sign it. Just because
Oh
the
no, I
House
know
and
that
the
the
Senate
current
passed it.
president. I'm just saying, throughout history, most of the time, when things came up, if it passed through, most of the time, they passed. If it passed, it passed. Presidents didn't go around vetoing everything that came across their desk just by a bodily function. Not the way things used to work.
Right, but I think what we're trying to say is that if it was in line with the Constitution, if it stood up for a Second Amendment right or any other rights. So basically what I feel that, in my personal opinion, what Reagan did was violating his oath to uphold the Second Amendment under the Constitution. If at the time, if...
The same thing could be said about Bill Clinton.
Right, no, and I
it's true.
absolutely agree, but Clinton was also a huge... I remember watching that speech when he had a couple of police chiefs up, and he had some...
Hold up. Any politician that is in the Senate or the House of Representatives that brings up any anti-gun legislation is technically violating their oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, because they are trying to gut and remove one part of it.
Exactly.
You know, as much as I hate Clinton, he did say that that was the worst move they ever made when they created that assault weapons ban.
Yeah, because they lost all
When
their...
basically as he was signing it, he was like, "You guys are signing your own death warrants." And what happened? They all got voted out the next time around.
Yeah.
He signed it knowing good and well that that was what it was going to do.
But the problem is
But
that
he didn't-
even though they got voted out, they
He
didn't
signed it
repeal
anyway.
They didn't repeal it.
And I'm sure he agreed with it, wholeheartedly. But I don't think that I think that he didn't think that that was the way to get to where he wanted to go with that. But he
I do
signed
have
it
a
anyway
question.
because he didn't
He
want to
probably
try to
wanted
push
more.
something else through.
I do have a current question. Do we know yet if the things that Obama has said are executive actions or executive orders?
From what I understand, an executive action, all that means is any action that the president takes. When he goes and takes a shit, that's an executive action. So every executive order is an executive action, but executive actions are not any, they're not an actual thing. As far as, somebody was in here the other day talking about the difference between an executive action and an executive order. An executive action is not even a thing, as far as that
Right.
goes.
It's not legally required to be followed.
Yeah, well, it's not even, like, executive orders are all listed in the Federal Registry. Executive actions don't even get a listing,
Right.
because it's not an order, it's just something that he does. Anything the president does can be considered an executive action. But I don't remember where it was at. There was some news channel had this whole little thing about it, explaining executive action and executive order and why the media kept using the term executive action recently instead of executive orders. And apparently it's just another one of those media things where they're trying to throw another buzzword out there, make you think it's something different.
Yeah, seems legit. I mean, it sounds better.
It's not legit.
Well, right, but I mean, like,
No.
in their eyes, like in the media's eyes, they're like, oh, this sounds better.
Well, I think when he does the actions, he's really just pandering to his base to make them think he's actually doing something when in fact nothing is happening.
Well, one thing that did happen, I mean, like everybody, I'm sure, probably knows what happened with the ATF and the trust, which was not part of his thing. It was the ATF, the kind of carte blanche agency of the United States. It was allowed to do whatever they want. Man.
Yeah, but everybody knows that all that's doing is just making it a little more difficult, or not even difficult, because there's already a background check that's done. Now you just have to haul everybody's ass up there to fill out a 4473. So it's more of a burden on everybody involved getting a trust. But it's not going to do anything, because when was the last time that you heard of a trust item that was used in a crime?
You know, the one thing I want to add on top of here is there's going to be, and it's not been fixed yet, a fee that's going to be attached to it, and it's another part of that speed bump to slow down the whole process. Now, because I'm sure it's not just going to be $5 to make it happen. It's going to be substantial, because that's another way they have of putting up a barrier between those that may not necessarily have a lot. You know, just like machine guns today. If it's allowed in your state, but you just have to go through all the federal paperwork to do it, it's the cost of the paperwork.
What I'm saying is this is just something that is thrown out there to make it look like that he's doing something. Because when was the last time that an SBR was used in a crime? When was the last time that a suppressor was used? When was the last time a machine gun was used?
Well,
and
here's the funny thing.
I don't mean all, smuggled in AKs from, God knows where. I mean something that's actually an NFA item that has a tax stamp on it.
And he did use the phrase, if it saves one life. He didn't say one child, but he said one life. So
he said one life that time, because
with 350
he usually says one child as he's
But with 350 million Americans, if we made a law for each one of us as to something we might injure ourselves on, so we need a law about it, we'd have so many laws we couldn't get out of bed in the morning. In fact, we probably couldn't go to bed because too many people die while they're asleep.
Supposing we don't have that already?
And I would also pose this question to the president. If he said, if we can save just one by making it harder for people to get guns, then we should do it. Well, I would reverse that and say, so you're going to make it harder for people to get guns, and a lot of people are in favor of like a waiting period or like a stronger background check, and stuff like that. It's like, what about the single mother who has a stalker and where she's made multiple complaints, and now she decides to go and get a gun, which there was a case of like this. I believe it was in New Jersey, and she got delayed because of a background check.
She had to go through a 3-day waiting period.
Yeah, and the guy killed her. So I mean, it's like, so you want to save lives, like, by denying people guns, and self-protection. Well, there's a flip side to that. You can also cost somebody their lives too.
One thing that I know is very common in the urban areas, as far as somebody who's not allowed to have a gun, who's, let's say, is a criminal of some type, is they will have either a girlfriend or a relative who is eligible purchase a firearm on their behalf, and then have them give it. Of course, they're going to pay for it, just straw purchase. But that's how criminals get current model firearms.
Oh, exactly. I've turned away multiple straw purchasers. I mean, like, I couldn't guarantee that they're straw purchasers, but there was a time when I was working behind the counter, and a girl came up to me, and she was asking the weirdest questions. She's like, which gun holds a lot of bullets and stuff like that. And then I see like a couple of guys that kind of look like gang members, on the other side, and they were looking at her, and she was looking back at them. And she's like, hey, like, I just want to buy this real quick. And like, she didn't know what she was doing. So, I said, hey, can you wait right here? And I said, I went and talked to my manager, and I asked him, like, hey, I have a feeling this girl's trying to straw purchase for those guys over there.
So let me ask you guys a question.
Sorry about that.
On straw purchases, and I realize we shouldn't be trying to think for other people.
Sorry, my girlfriend's blowing up my phone.
But to reduce, because it will never eliminate, but to reduce straw purchases, and I realize we shouldn't be trying to think for the other side, but can you think of something that would reduce those sort of things from stopping the girlfriend or the relative, short of a database of the purchasers' names, that would reduce straw purchases?
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
can't. That's why
I don't
No.
know. Short of making them an accessory, I don't know.
Well, that would probably do it a little bit anyway, but probably not any more than it already, because when people don't read the 4473, most people don't. If they've ever filled one out, they probably don't read it
they
after
got to
the
read
first
question
time.
11 because otherwise they might put a yes in the wrong category.
Well, yeah,
Or a
but
no.
when was the last time you read the 4473 though? Do you
Last
read it
time I
every
was at the
time just to
gun
make
shop.
sure they don't switch a question up on you, or
Yes.
do you know exactly where to put that yes and the rest of them no?
Actually, I have to read question 11 every time because every couple of years they add a question or change a question.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, like when they changed it where you're not supposed to answer this question if you answered this one.
Well, I'm always
Unless you
confused.
answer this one yes, then you don't even answer that one.
Well,
Used
because
to
I'm white,
that one anyway.
I'm non-Hispanic, but I never think of my white, so I always get thrown off by those questions.
Oh yeah.
Am I non-Hispanic? Well, I'm white. Why can't I just say I'm Caucasian and leave it at that?
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the guy I buy from usually just pops up in his trunk and just says pick one, and then that's pretty easy. I mean, that's not the same experience you guys have.
That's a private purchase.
I know. I mean,
That's how I got my revolver.
But yeah, see, a lot of people don't even know that they're not supposed to do that. That it's because unless you buy firearms, then you probably don't know it. A lot of places, it may even be a law that you have to have that posted now. But I know that maybe all of the places around here have it posted on the door.
So
as you walk in, it tells you that purchasing a firearm for another person is,
I'm not sure
is
if
a
it
crime.
was you, John, that mentioned making it that if you make a straw purchase, then you're an accomplice for any crimes committed.
Oh yeah, guilty by
Did it say that?
association.
Yeah, somebody else said that, but
I mean,
yeah,
that sounds on the surface, without a lot of thinking of it, like a good idea, but I haven't thought of it for more than 2 minutes since you said it.
well, I didn't say it. I just sort of agreed with whoever did bring it up.
Mhm.
Somebody else brought it up, but
Because you know from the start, unlike selling a car where you sell a car to somebody and then they go hit somebody with it, well, you didn't know that they were an alcoholic. But if you give it to your boyfriend, you know he didn't buy it. You know he's into criminality of one type or another.
well, see, right there, I can see the issue with it because let's say that you buy a gun for a spouse as a gift, which I think most of the time these days people just do a gift certificate or something, or take them down to the store and get them to pick out the one they want, and then the person just actually pays for it, but lets the person that it's going to be for do all the paperwork. So they just fund it for them. So they're not even doing the purchase. The person that's actually going to, like if my wife bought me a gun, I would go and get the gun and everything, but she would come with me and pay for it because she's going to buy it for me. I'm doing all the paperwork, doing all the, so there's no straw purchasing going on there.
I hate to say this, but this is a really good point that Yankee did make. Even though it's Yankee, and we all know that, we all know how he is, but just get them to give you a gift card for that particular shop.
Do that. Some places don't do it, but a lot of places do.
A lot of do.
Even if you can't do that, you can still go with them and let them pick out the gun they want. And then you're just paying the money for it anyway.
Right.
They're still doing all the paperwork, so it's still.
I understand that. I'd like to get back on the idea of turning it into you are an accomplice for any crimes committed with that gun.
Let's say 10 years from now, I decide to become a master criminal, and because I'm not going to be a petty criminal. If I become a criminal, I'm going to be big time.
Put a statute of limitations on the time. We'll call it 2 years. If a crime is committed with that gun, you can receive the maximum penalty if something is done with it in 2 years. If there's nothing done, you still have some sort of penalty because you're not supposed to do that. In other words, you're not supposed to have a straw purchase, so there would be some sort of minimum penalty. But if somebody commits a crime with that gun in the first 2 years after you do it, I'm just picking 2 years out of the air, then you are then an accomplice to that crime.
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah.
Well,
I
No,
can
no,
kind of
no,
see that,
Dano.
though. That's
Dano,
a
shush.
little more. That is a little more reasonable there because on the surface, when you first mention it, you know, the whole thing about the accomplice, you know, that makes sense. And then you start digging into it. Well, you know, what about this where, you know, this person was, you know, perfectly upstanding citizen when the gun was bought, and then years later they, you know, decide to go off the deep end or whatever.
And that's why we can go with the time frame.
Yeah, so, yeah, that, it's where you start getting into gray areas, and I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you could probably find other problems with it and all this stuff.
Okay. I just been told we got just a few minutes left before Matt starts. So we probably should get close to saying anything you got to say before we move on over.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this, guys. I hadn't realized Matt was doing his chat tonight. I thought he wasn't.
Doesn't matter. It's a lobby chat. It's the whole point of having gun channels, so we can have multiple conversations one time.
Well, I'm the one hosting this one, so.
So you don't have to apologize.
Well, I'm trying to be nice. Damn it.
We should be thanking you for hosting the lobby.
Hey, do I get an invite over there or no?
I don't know. What's his topic tonight? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I'm going over there.
I think he was going to talk about the executive orders.
The specifics of the order.
He may talk about some of that Hickok situation because I know he made a video about it this morning.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff, but
well, Dano, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you. Pink will probably load his lobby up after this anyway. So.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out too.
Everyone, thank you for listening to the GunChannels.com evening lobby chat. I know it was short this time, but
are you going over to his
part of the conversation? And remember, join your local rifle association or the NRA.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
So